Hi everyone, so today I'll be showing you guys how I automatically back up my whole computer simply just by running a batch file, and I'll describe what that is in a moment. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I would highly recommend looking at my previous video of how to easily maintain a local backup of your splice samples using robocopy. It doesn't have to apply to splice samples. This command that I'm going to utilize today can be used for anything that you want to back up. So I highly suggest looking at that video first to fully understand what I'm talking about. But today, for the purposes of this video, I'll be showing you guys how I created the script. So this is the script. But first off, let me explain what it does. So it's basically an iteration of the same command over and over again. So I'm utilizing this robocopy. Each line is a separate command, and so I'm basically telling the computer to basically copy files from this directory and move it to storage, which is going to be my external hard drive. And I completely do that for each directory that I want to back up. It's a bit like mundane, and it might take you a while, but in the long run, once you get this done, it is a huge time saver. It literally takes me like 5 minutes to back up versus it used to take me like 1.5 to 2 hours to back up my whole computer manually. So it's a huge time saver. You don't have to purchase anything, you don't have to download anything. You just have to take some time to just write some code. And I'll explain the commands here in a second, but the first thing I want to show you is how to create a batch file. It's very simple. You simply first have to go into the File Explorer to enable a setting. So you go here to the three dots, you go to Options, and you go to View, and you make sure that Hide Extensions for Known File Types is unchecked. That way you can create the batch file. Alright, so once you have that unchecked, hit OK. Mine's already hit, so that's fine. So what I'm going to do now is go right click on the desktop, hit New, hit Text Document. So you see the file extension here. You want to change that to BAT for batch file. Just say yes, and then that'll create a batch file for you. Alright, so then you right click on it, hit Edit in Notepad, and from here you can actually create your code. Sorry for stumbling on my words, but here you write all your code, and I'll explain what to type here. You can, if you like, you can just copy it verbatim as I have it here. So there's like 3 main commands I use. @echo off, which is more of a formality. You don't really need it. It just cleans up the output in the command line. But really what you need to know is just this command right here, the robocopy command that I spoke about earlier. So it's just a matter of literally writing this robocopy command over and over again for every directory that you want to back up, as you can see. And then just to make it look nice, I put an echo sync complete here at the end, so I know when the file synchronization has been completed. And then I also put a pause at the end. That way I could see the results at the end of the whole file transfer, and then this will allow me to hit enter at the end to then exit out of the program. So I also put this right here, it might seem a little weird, but this is just comments so that I know when I last updated the file, and it gives me an explanation of what's going to happen, or what command an explanation of the command I'm utilizing in this case. So with that said, let me demo the command or the file. So this is literally the file I'm going to run. As you can see, I'm copying over my iTunes backups to the external hard drive, copying my audi-meae folder, which contains all my projects for my music, my DALL-E AI photos, which I don't really use often or do often much anymore, I copy over my Camtasia stuff, my documents, my basically all the files related to my music, my iTunes music, my Splice samples, everything that I can think of to back up. Basically my whole computer is being backed up here, and you can custom make it specifically for your use case. So after all that's said and done, you just hit File, Save, close it out, and you basically just double click on it. I'll go to my specific backup file specifically, and I'll run it just so that you can see how it's gonna run. So if I go to, because I have it in a specific spot, if I go to my C drive and just run my sync.bat, which is what I called it, double click on it, pops up like this. As you can see, as I said before, you'll see the comments that I added, so you can see what it's about to do. You see when it was last updated, and then just hit enter, and it'll just start. From here, I have nothing to back up because I literally backed it up last night and I didn't really do anything new today. So you'll see it just go through the whole process here. It's going to take maybe 5-10 minutes, but it's totally automated. It will replace old files. It'll go through the whole process of backing up your computer, and it makes sure that basically what's on your computer is an exact match to what's on the external hard drive. And again, I would highly suggest checking out my previous video. It will explain in much more detail what the command is doing, so that you understand how this program is working to tailor it to what you need. But I try my best to tailor the command in a way that will work universally for everyone. So let this run. The only caveat with this I've noticed is I would highly suggest, if you're gonna do this method, do not plug in any other external hard drives while you're doing this, because there's a reference to, in my case, there's a reference to the E drive, and if you plug in multiple hard drives to the computer, that reference to the E drive might change, if that makes sense. So I would just, long story short, just make sure when you're backing up, make sure there's no other storage devices connected. It's not going to cause an issue. The only issue it's going to cause is like a reference to that drive letter. But just to avoid any issues, please do it that way. It helps with not having to edit the file over and over again to modify the reference to that drive letter. But again, I'm just repeating myself over and over again, but yeah, I apologize. Let's see, it looks like it's almost done. It's going through the samples, which is one of the last commands. So I'm not sure how much time has elapsed, but it hasn't been that long at all. And again, I will put the description of the command in the description of the video. Excuse me. And I'll just put as much information as I can in the description, as well as a link to the previous video for further understanding. But again, fully automated. I don't have to touch anything. Just let that run, come back, and then it will be done. You don't even have to think about it. It's a huge time saver, because it used to take me literally hours to back up, and it was very painstaking. Now I don't even have to think about it. It's at the K, so once it hits around the Z, it should be almost done. Almost there. Let's see. Is there anything else I can bring up to help out? Let's see. I mentioned the drive letter issue. That's really the only caveat. The only thing you gotta pay attention to really is making sure you don't plug in any other devices at the same time. Let's see. I think that's it, really. Everything else is explained in the previous video. I just want to show how it ends, so you see the meaning behind the changes I made in the batch file, the reason why I added those additions. I mean, you could always just use like paid utilities, or there's probably like a freeware software that can back up your computer, but I just find this very simple, very straightforward, very lightweight, quick, and it's just custom and like no fuss about it. It just works. You just double click the file, hit enter, and it just runs. When it finishes, you just hit enter again, the CMD window closes, and you are complete. You are done. It's at V, so it's almost done. It's getting closer. And again, this is backing up my whole computer, not just my samples, but all my stuff, my iTunes, my documents, everything. So here it is. And then as you can see, if you compare the script that I showed earlier versus this, you see how it works. So you see the sync complete, which I talked about earlier, and then the pause, which adds this feature here that lets you to press any key to continue. So it pauses the output and so that you can see the results. You can hit enter, or any key for that matter, closes out, and you're done. And that's the script. So I know it might be a little painstaking to type it all out and create the script, but I'm telling you, like, it's a huge time saver, and it's free. So if anyone wants to tinker around with batch code like command line, this is the way to go. Honestly, this is pretty simple. Might seem a little complicated, but it really isn't that hard. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. I'll be glad to always help. Hopefully my explanations were clear. If not, as always, comment below, and I'll try to answer your questions as best as I can. Thank you, and have a great day.